Woo! All right. Okay. Hi, everybody. It's Valeriy Solo, your local realtor here in Charlotte. And today I have a very special guest who is coincidentally also my brother. But the more important fact is he's a general contractor, has been since childhood, as we'll find out. So I'm really excited to talk to him about all things building, house related, construction related, and get some expert insight. So, Max Solo, thanks for joining.
Well, thank you.
And I guess just to start off, I know a lot of the backstory because I grew up with it, but if you could, just wanted to see if you could share how you got into construction and what your background in construction, your starting origin story for a general contractor was.
Well, my origin story goes way back when I was 14. I guess parents immigrated from Russia, and as most immigrants, they got into construction. And then dad realized, or dad and mom realized they can open up their own business and build their own homes. So that's what he did, and I ended up working for him. And at the age of 14, I guess my real job was just cleaning up and organizing lumber and driving the truck, driving the equipment, and I really enjoyed it. So I kind of stuck around, and then we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina in 2004. And my
How old
dad,
were you then?
I was 19,
Okay.
and my dad, or our dad, tasked me to start the house, our first house here. And I was a little overwhelmed and nervous, but I really enjoyed the process. He went back to pick up the rest of the family, you guys, mom, and or I don't remember if you were here or not.
So I remember you and a family friend, Vip, moved here a couple months before us to renovate the small house that we were all going to live in until the big house got built.
Yeah.
And you guys were here, like I said, 2 months before us. And then we all arrived. You showed me, I guess, Highway 74. You showed me a little beach on Lake Wiley.
Yeah.
And then the next day, you showed me how to put foundation blocks on for me to work. So I was right into the deep end for all of us.
Yeah. No, it was definitely interesting how our parents left us here to build a house and entrusted us, it sounds so crazy right now.
Yeah.
We built the foundation as teenagers.
Yeah, it is crazy if you think about it. I think back on that too sometimes. I'm like, what the heck?
So I enjoyed the process so much. That year I went got licensed. So I got my general contractor's license in 2004.
At the age of 19, 20?
Something like that,
Wow.
20.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, probably 20. 20 or 21.
I think I remember you stressing out about those tests and studying for
Yeah,
them, and
yeah.
it was a big deal.
Yeah, I took a course in Central Community College.
Yeah, Piedmont.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. The first time I failed a test, and I think I came in a little arrogant, thinking I knew it all, but they make the test really tricky.
Yeah.
They make you dive into the books. And then I met a gentleman who passed it the first time, and I was like, hey, how did you do it? And he told me, take a week off before the test and do nothing but focus on the books. Know the books, know the codes, know where the codes are. And that's what I did. Second time, I passed it almost 100%.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, and then ever since, started or I took over mom and dad's business, bought their truck, bought their trailer, and started doing little odd jobs and working my way up. And then during 2008, the financial crisis, I got picked up by a commercial company and traveled the U.S., built a bunch of stores in a lot of interesting cities. Also a very fun experience.
So that was commercial though, right?
That was commercial.
So you have pretty vast experience in residential and commercial. Okay,
Yes.
that's pretty good.
So for about 4 years, I traveled the United States.
Wow, I can't believe it was
built-
4 years. I thought it was like 2.
It was
Yeah.
3.5, 4 years.
Wow. Okay. Okay. That's a long time.
And then the last store that they gave me was in Concord Mills.
Wow.
And I came back, and at this point, Charlotte was booming again. And I got tired of the whole commercial deadlines, pressure.
Yeah. Commercial's a
Even
whole
though
nother
even though
animal.
the money was really good, and traveling, being away from home, I did not enjoy that. So I made Concord Mills my last store. It's still there to this day.
Oh, nice. You did it right.
Thankfully, yes. And then I just started picking up clients. This was in 2017. And just new construction from then on.
Nice.
Custom, spec. I do a little bit of renovations if it's worth it, remodeling. And to this day, I still really enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay. So your experience kind of sounds like it runs the gamut. Because I do remember pre-recession, when it was still a family construction business, we built maybe 12, 13, 14 houses, and they were all successful. But then the last couple was right when the recession hit. That was really tough. And I remember we sold that last house, and then everybody kind of went their separate ways trying to survive, you know, chasing deals, because everything was just dead and slow. And then right around that time, I think shortly after, you got picked up by the commercial outfit. And
Yeah.
that was good timing on that.
Yeah.
Plus the
It was.
experience that you got, like as far as you mentioned deadlines, pressures, I feel like having that experience and then bringing it into residential really upped your game as compared to before.
I feel like before the commercial gig, we were kind of figuring it out, learning how business works, learning how to manage money, how to quote, just kind of, because nobody really teaches you.
Yeah.
And then the company that picked me up, great company, really enjoyed working for it. They are pretty good to me, even though it was a grind.
Yeah.
They taught me a lot. I was dealing with the top corporate level construction guys over there. So I was their GC out in the field.
Yeah. They probably have high expectations from you.
High
Don't play
expectations, and I saw everything behind the scenes, how
Yeah.
the machine worked.
Yeah.
And then I learned and applied that to my business. And that really helped me propel my expertise
Yeah.
of how to run the business properly,
Yeah.
how to talk to contractors, customers,
Scheduling,
everything,
all of that stuff.
scheduling.
awesome.
I learned a lot.
That's awesome.
So that's what really propelled me to where I am right now.
Yeah.
My company's not a big company, but we're a solid company
Yeah.
here. Been in Charlotte for a long time. I know Charlotte.
Yeah.
I love Charlotte. I guess that's
Yeah.
where I'm at right now.
Yeah. So I guess going back to when you came back to Charlotte, Concord was your last store. Then you switched into the residential side, you know, I guess full speed just in this area. Was it initially spec homes or custom homes for clients, or did you have investors that you worked with, or how did that?
It was.
Or was it a mix of everything?
It was a mix of everything. I've built for clients. I've built with investors, and spec homes for sale.
Okay. So I guess shifting to that, and I appreciate you sharing your background a little bit. Obviously, you're very experienced in all aspects. It's proven by your story, but also by you've put your money where your mouth is and have built many homes successfully, ranging from the small cookie cutter homes for customers to $1 million+, $2 million+ homes. So you cover it all, and I guess I just want to try to be helpful to people that are potentially viewing this that want to get a home, but don't want to buy an existing home, but they want to build a home. So starting from the basics, you as a contractor, do you prefer to work with, I guess this is more insider baseball, but do you prefer to work with clients or do you prefer to do a spec home? And you can be honest. And before you answer, I'll just say, from my experience, I've seen builders that they start working for clients, but then they eventually move to spec homes. And the main reason is because you really don't have to answer to anybody but yourself. And who doesn't like that? So that's understandable. That being said, what's your take on that? And whatever your answer is, do you still take on clients?
So I think there's benefits to both. Obviously, spec homes are easier.
Yeah.
Nobody to answer to. I
No,
can build
no
them.
10 color changes.
Yeah, I can build them fast. I don't have to deal with. Everybody's got their own emotions. Everybody's got a different character, and that little dance is avoided.
Yeah.
But building for customers is beneficial as well. Number one, the money's guaranteed.
Yeah. That's a big benefit.
Big benefit. Number two, you get tested, which we all need to get. We can't be in a safety bubble where it's super easy.
Yeah, you have to continue to be growing and challenging yourself.
You definitely get challenged, and I learned that in the end, you learn a lot and you adjust.
Not to mention the relationships.
The
that you develop.
relationships, and I always tell my clients before we start building, I tell them, buckle up.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Buckle up. Like, to me, I feel like building a house is like driving a cruise ship. Once it sets sail, that's it. It's got to keep moving. It takes a while to turn, and it's a slow-moving machine, but it moves. So every time I'm building for a customer, I honestly feel like I'm driving a cruise ship. And you know, it gets done eventually. And then, like, I try to prep them as much as I can before the construction process, because a lot of people have never built a house in their life. And the expenses that you go through can be mind-boggling so fast, and the decisions they need to make. So we try to front load as much of that as possible, just to make the process easier. I feel like I've done it so much or so many times that I've prepped the customers enough. And yes, you know, there are going to be kinks, there are going to be issues and hurdles you gotta get over. And you know, major benefit is the money's pretty much guaranteed. The income. Spec home, you know, you can lose money.
It's a risk.
It's a risk. And then you learn a lot about yourselves. You make the connections. And a lot of times, customers like to try different things. So you get to learn new aspects
you get exposed
of the industry.
different things. That's pretty,
like, hey, I want a steam room.
Yeah.
And a sauna, and you've never done one. So, okay, let's learn how to make that. So
you take those kind of challenges on.
Definitely, definitely.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So I don't shy away from both.
Okay. So I guess going to, if you were working with a client, or if you had some advice for somebody that's looking to build, starting from the ground up, literally, when you look at the ground, the lot, the land, what are some things that you look for? What are some big, obvious red flags? Just in general, what would be some advice you would give to buyers when, before even the house, the plans, any of that, the land that they're going to build on, what should they keep in mind?
My favorite is a city lot with city sewer, city water, and a flat lot.
Wow.
That's bingo.
Okay. Why are you against septic systems and wells?
Some septic systems can be challenging.
Okay.
I'm not against septic systems, but they create a challenge, especially in this area. A lot of septic systems are challenging, and also wells. some customers have a budget, and even if I'm building a spec home, I have a budget, and there's almost no way knowing how deep the water is.
Yeah.
So the well companies have a set price for a set amount of feet. After that, it's per foot.
Okay.
So you could you could have a sticker shock in the end.
Yeah.
And you need
Yeah.
that water.
And as a realtor, I'll agree with you there. City water, city sewer,
Yeah.
flat lot is the easiest.
Yeah.
Septic, if you get lucky and you get conventional soils, it's a basic system. Those are easy. But here in the Carolinas, we have a lot of soils that have clays. They require engineered systems, and those systems, and I know from your experience recently, the cost of those systems sometimes can be astronomical.
Yeah.
The more complicated engineered systems require maintenance and just a lot of hassle. Plus, you can't really use that soil where the
Yeah,
drain field
yeah.
is. And going to wells, as a realtor, that's one thing that I really don't like when it comes to land is, yeah, you can test the soils and get an idea what the septic system will be, the cost of that. But the water, if there's no city water, there's really no way at all to tell what the well depth will be, what the well flow rate will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can talk to neighbors and kind of gauge
Yeah.
what it'll be, but I've seen situations where one lot will have great flow and across the street there's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And I've had clients that they had to dig one 1,000 foot well, and then a second, and then a third, where they finally just barely got enough water to be able to have some, for living. So I understand where you're coming from with city water, city
Yeah.
sewer. You just pay a tap fee, connect,
Yeah,
and you're done. What about as far as like topography?
I've also just a side note with wells, and I don't know if people want to hear this. Like one well had E. coli in it.
So yeah, very important.
Yeah,
get
I'm
the
like,
water.
where did it come from?
Yeah.
And the county's like, usually from feces, like
Jeez.
animal feces. I'm like,
Wow.
well, how did it get in there?
Yeah.
And then another one, we ran into a radon problem
Oh wow.
in the water.
The heck?
And I'm like,
Jeez.
you just shrug your shoulders and you have to deal with it.
Yeah. How do you deal with that kind of stuff in those situations?
It's so there's two ways. You either install a charcoal filter, whole house charcoal filter, or there's this a bubble filter where the water comes out, it bubbles up.
Oh, yeah.
The radon
Yeah.
escapes,
Yeah.
and you get non-radon water.
Yeah.
All expensive. Best to avoid. That's why I don't like dealing with it
Or option
because
3, you bareback it and live life on the edge. Just kidding.
So yeah, that was hurdles we had to get over. That's why I prefer city water.
That makes sense. What about topography of land? Like, I understand flat lots are the most ideal, but
Yeah.
sloped lots, are you just saying stay away from those, or are those doable as well?
Everything's doable. It all just depends on your budget. If you have a budget in mind, slope is going to add a lot of extra cost. And usually for me, site work is really hard to gauge price-wise because you've got to prep it as much as you need, and machinery costs per day. So if it takes 1 day, you got off easy. If it takes 10 days,
Yeah, that
that's
cost adds
10x.
up.
Yeah, yeah, everything just adds up, and it's really hard to gauge. So pretty much, you just got to work at it till it's done.
Okay. So the sloped lots, doable, but just expect more costs.
Exactly. Exactly. A lot more costs.
And speaking of costs, one thing that I heard you say over the years, and which I've seen, bear true, is that a lot of the clients that you work with, they'll have a certain budget in mind, and you're almost always telling them, "Hey, you need more money. You
Yeah.
need more money."
Yeah. Yeah.
If somebody budgets for a house, how much extra on top of that would you recommend to have as a backstop for unexpected expenses, which will come up?
Yeah.
They almost always do. Costs always overrun. So from your experience, what would be a safe, buffer of extra money that people should get? Like if we had to put like a percentage on, like 10, 20%.
My percentage in mind is 15-20% overage, unless you're super strict, very disciplined, and we want this tile, and you've made all your selections, and you've got it all priced out, which is difficult. It takes a while. I want to say it takes minimum 1 year to make all your selections, to talk it over with your significant other.
When spouses and
what
everybody
what ends up
options.
happening when you start building, you get in the zone, and you're like, okay, maybe I should upgrade the tile.
Yeah. Oh, what about this?
It
I saw this on
always happens.
HGTV.
It always
Yeah, I love that.
happens. Yeah, all the little extras, you end up 20% over budget. Like I said, unless you're very disciplined
And everything lines
and
up
you've made your
perfect, yeah.
selections, and you've got it priced out, then you can hit your budget.
Okay.
Otherwise, surprises always come up.
Yeah.
Be ready
Yeah.
for those. Cost overruns. I think it's universal.
Yeah. And I agree. All my clients that have built homes, they all go over.
Yeah.
I've yet to meet somebody that hits exactly that budget.
Yeah.
And 10 or 15 to 20% might seem like a lot,
Yeah.
but I think that's a wise approach because I'd rather be pleasantly surprised
yeah,
if I don't
yeah,
use that
yeah.
versus, where'd I
Yeah.
get money?
Yeah.
And God forbid you end up in a situation where some people have where they have to sell an unfinished house
yeah.
because they can't finance it.
And I'll give you an example. Some of my spec homes, I've hit the budget almost 100%. And that's only because
Because you control everything.
with my experience,
and your experience.
I've made all the selections pre-construction.
Yeah.
And I want to say that takes experience.
Yeah.
If you're building a house for the first time, it's still difficult. There's so many little details that go into building a house that it's tough to make all those selections, down to like grout color, or do you want epoxy? You can go crazy with just grout.
Yeah.
So it's definitely doable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good information to have for sure. I guess moving on towards the actual building of the house. Slab versus crawl space. Some people prefer slab, some prefer crawl space. What's your perspective? What's the pros and cons of each?
The biggest pro is cost.
Okay.
So, in my builds, I find that a crawl space, an average crawl space, which is, I believe, 3 feet tall,
Yeah, okay.
versus a slab on grade, is double. So a crawl space
The cost of it.
costs double what a slab does.
Okay.
When you add everything up to
Yeah.
me, I consider double. When you pour the slab, you have a foundation.
Yeah.
With a crawl space, when you put down the OSB plywood as the floor,
Yeah.
that's, to me, that's a similar. That's when you start framing.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I calculate that, it's double.
Oh wow. Okay. I
The
didn't know.
price.
I knew crawl space was a little more expensive.
Yeah,
I didn't realize
yeah.
double. Wow.
So that's the biggest benefit. Crawl spaces, a huge benefit is you can put utilities in the crawl space. Your house is elevated,
Off the ground.
which is a
Yeah.
great feeling,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
I like being elevated above the ground.
Yeah.
Nothing against being on the ground.
Yeah.
You can encapsulate you can
go
insulate it.
crazy,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can insulate a slab just as well.
Yeah.
So my opinion, the biggest benefits is cost, and you get that extra room in the crawl space for utilities.
Okay.
Uh,
So for
and-
slab,
and
the biggest
also-
benefit is cost, but for crawl space, it's the extra space.
Extra space, and also you have access to all your plumbing, electrical, heating, if anything goes
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
In a slab, if something goes wrong down there,
You gotta cut up some concrete.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is not fun.
yeah.
Yeah, that's generally kind of what I see in my experience as well. Slab, it's a little, not a little, but a lot more, a lot less expensive. But you are right on the ground. You don't have the elevated feeling. You don't have easy access to repairs if necessary. And it's also a personal thing. Like I know some people that build very nice $1 million+ homes and they prefer slab. But for me personally, I've noticed the slab, that concrete, it's always just a little bit harder when you walk on it versus walking on a wood floor that, you know, it's also hard, but it has a little more
The
give.
wood does, have a little spring
Plus,
to
it's
it.
a little warmer.
Yeah.
And that space underneath when you have a crawl space could be utilized, even though it's not supposed to, everybody does. So there's pros and cons, but I think budget is probably one of the biggest deciding factors for people about that.
Well, another benefit to a slab is easy in and out. You don't have steps, especially if you've got any kind of disability. You know, you're in. And out.
That's true. That's true.
Versus going up and down steps.
So really, it's like
it's a personal preference.
Personal preference.
Yeah. Nothing against either or.
Got it. Next question regarding the exterior veneer. Here, the brick, it's a veneer. It doesn't hold up anything. What's your perspective on the different kind of siding, claddings that you can use? Brick versus hardy plank versus stucco versus vinyl.
Well, obviously vinyl is bottom of the barrel. But it can also look good. They have, I want to call it premium vinyl. That looks good.
Yeah, I saw you showed some.
They have. It looks almost identical to fiber cement siding. You never have to paint it. Fiber cement you have to paint every 5-10 years. Brick, I really enjoy brick. It's somewhat affordable here in the South because we have a lot of clay here. So they they manufacture it here. My favorite is brick, and then you can do stucco. Not as popular, but getting popular. Fiber cement is also a good alternative. And you know, there's pros and cons to all of them. Obviously, vinyl is going to be your best price. Brick is going to be most expensive. And then,
so that's what I was actually going to ask you. What's the, if you had to like?
So I want to say
the most expensive?
Vinyl is the most affordable. And then you get your fiber cement siding. That's number 2. Brick and stucco is going to be comparable in price. Different looks, comparable price.
And then you have like stone and other stuff.
You have all kinds. We shouldn't even get it. There's a lot. You know, there's real stone, fake stone.
We could go down a rabbit.
Aluminum cladding. All that.
Okay, so brick, I agree with you. Brick is definitely a good option to go for.
It's timeless. It's beautiful.
The maintenance is also minimal compared to even vinyl. Vinyl, the maintenance is minimal, but sometimes the sun after 10, 15 years will warp it.
That's if you get the bottom of the barrel vinyl.
That's
the
true.
Premium vinyl shouldn't do that.
Okay. With the new technology,
it's thicker.
Right. Okay, so next question regarding house plans. A lot of people, they shop for house plans online. They might find something they like, they buy it, and they think they're ready to go. Obviously, that's not true. What are the steps for somebody that finds a plan that they like? Like, what should they expect before they actually have a blueprint that is workable that you can build with?
Okay. First thing you got to make sure is that the house plan is somewhat drawn in the United States.
Okay.
And for
you're talking about if you shop online.
And for the region you're in.
Okay.
Because if you buy a house plan that was drawn for Canada, the foundation's completely different. So you're gonna have to pay to get a new foundation sheet.
So like their codes, their requirements, the area is way different.
They have a different frost line. It's I think it's 4 feet minimum. Or it's low. So the footings start really low, and then you got to build up. So at least make sure it's drawn for the United States and for the area, and then definitely. Some counties here don't need it engineered, but I always recommend an engineer because that gets it out of the way. Most houses are going to have EWP, which is engineered wood products like LVLs or steel beams, materials the city inspectors don't accept. They need an engineer to sign off on it. So you get that out of the way. That way, when the garage header gets installed and it's an LVL, the inspector doesn't come and says, "Okay, you need an engineer for that." Just get it out of the way. Yeah, just get it out of the way.
The engineer will also look over everything,
Exactly.
make sure it all is structurally sound.
Yeah.
So they buy the plan, but then after they buy the plan, they still have to have an engineer go through and stamp it.
Correct.
And then after that, is that when you have a buildable blueprint?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I always recommend get as much detail on the house plan as possible. I've seen some house plans that were very minimum on detail, and you had to interpret where the wall ends and the brick starts. And it was
Wow.
I could do it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of head scratching.
Subcontractors
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do the
The
same
more
thing.
details, the better. That's
Less babysitting involved.
yeah.
Okay. That's interesting that some counties don't even require the stamped engineer. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Which county here in the Carolinas is the worst to deal with?
North or south?
North, Charlotte.
Um,
I've been hearing a lot of complaints about Mecklenburg County lately.
well, obviously Mecklenburg because it's high density. They've got to be stricter.
Yeah.
I would say Mecklenburg, and there's a reason for that. Just because of the density.
Is that for your haircut? The dog haircut?
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't
No,
understand that.
I'll answer that later.
Put on speaker when you answer it.
Okay. Mecklenburg, and recently I feel like the inspectors got a lot tougher. Just because of there's a lot of people that moved down here because of COVID. A lot of flippers came out of nowhere, flipping houses the wrong way. I've seen horror stories with my own eyes.
Yeah, you told me some.
A lot of new builders from different areas that don't necessarily know the codes and are building. So I feel like there's a mandate from the county to be a little tougher. So yeah, Mecklenburg.
Okay. So as far as the builders, and you're right, there is so many people that moved here. A lot of people, because it's a booming city, they see like, hey, I could do that.
Yeah.
Throw on their construction hat and think
Yeah,
they're a
yeah,
builder, but it's
yeah,
not that
yeah,
easy.
yeah.
And I know you've had to go in and rescue a few of those projects.
Yeah.
So, speaking to that, what would you recommend people look for when they're looking for a contractor? Like, what kind of things should they look out for, and what should they expect from their contractor that they hire?
I guess I have differing opinions on that as well. Sometimes the entry-level builder, his prices aren't as much as experienced builder, and some people have a smaller budget. So that would be a great fit for each other. That way, the customer gets what they want at an affordable price, and the new builder can hone his skills. So I want to say that would be a good fit. But if you want a good, solid product, you definitely, and you want it done right, with the entry-level builder, there's going to be mistakes. I know because I was there.
Yeah.
I had to learn things the hard way. I've made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I try to do better. I try to learn as much as I can. But if you want a good, solid product done right, I guess you look for an experienced builder. maybe call some previous customers, see their previous work, or just talk to them.
Just vet them, make sure.
Yeah. But there's a contractor for everybody.
Yeah. And speaking to that, just like with anything, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, exactly.
And I deal with a lot of customers that don't want to buy a house, but they want to build. And I'll typically refer them to 2 or 3 contractors, and you're always one of them. But I always tell them, listen, he's at a level where he's not going to charge what some of these cheaper contractors charge. Where at this point, I'll just put a number on it. I would say the cheaper contractors is around 15%, 12, 15%. And even those guys, because I know a lot of different contractors, the ones that build at 12, 15%, they struggle. And, sometimes they end up almost building for free. And the ones that know their stuff, that have business and that have experience, I mean, you're looking at around 20% GC fee. And obviously, that fluctuates, but is that where you're at these days? If you had a customer call you, say, hey, I want to build this house.
Oh yeah, my minimum is 20.
Okay.
And it goes up from there. Depends on how complex the project is.
And, there's people that, like I said, you get what you pay for.
Yeah,
They want to get somebody experienced.
yeah.
It's a huge investment, so they want to make sure that whoever's on it knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you have enough business that you have to constantly turn people away.
Exactly. And another thing I want to add is an experienced builder. A lot of customers will not know or don't know. Even the entry-level builder doesn't know. An experienced builder may seem like he costs more, but the savings and the experience makes up for it.
Versus the mistakes from the cheap guy.
A mistake in building a house is $1,000 minimum. I've learned. And it only goes up from there. You can make an easy $10,000 mistake and you don't even know about it. You think that's normal, but it's not. So an experienced contractor definitely adds value and savings, even though they may seem like they're more expensive. And plus, with experience, you can get the project done sooner, so there's less holding costs.
Carrying costs add up.
If you're renting somewhere, that's months less of rent you have to pay. You get in the house sooner.
Well, and not to mention the stress and headache of it all.
Exactly.
I mean, building a house is a huge endeavor. When you're in the middle of it, you're like, what the heck am I doing? I mean, obviously at the end, it's happy and joy and celebration, but you can choose to go through almost a year of constant stress and worry, like, hey, is my guy able to handle this? Versus somebody like yourself that's like, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what to expect. And have it a lot more streamlined and smooth. So that's part of the experience.
Exactly. What I do with a lot of my customers is I walk them through what's going to happen. That way they're mentally ready. Versus somebody beginning, they don't know what, I want to say anybody can build a house. It's not that difficult. Especially if you hire contractors that know what they're doing. It's not that difficult, but with an experienced builder, I can guide the customers and tell them, okay, this is what's going to happen. I need you guys to make this and this decision if they haven't made it. Versus, hey, I need that decision right now. And I didn't, oops.
I forgot about this.
I forgot about this.
By the way.
You're right. It is very stressful, that period of the build for anybody. And I would, back when I was starting, anytime I started a build, I'd get like a knot in my stomach, that nervousness, because it's a big responsibility. And if you screw up, it's gonna cost you a lot. I'm kind of over that, but
you don't get nervous anymore.
I still do if I encounter something new.
Sounds like you need to go bigger, man.
I want to say that's a good thing. Being a little nervous, it's a good thing. But not gonna lie, some houses I can build with my eyes closed.
That's awesome.
So
So going to what you were speaking about earlier, mistakes can be costly. It doesn't necessarily have to be yours. It could be, but what have you witnessed as being like some of the biggest, costliest mistakes that people have made?
Ooh. Again, site prep. It's, if you got a weird lot, if you have a flat lot, I love it. You know, how much is it going to take to prep a pad?
Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
With a sloped lot, to me, I always laugh at, well, not laugh at, but shake my head whenever somebody skimps out on a sloped lot and the crawl space is jacked up and then the garage is on the bottom and you have a zillion stairs that eat away half the garage to get into the house. To me, that's a big mistake. With proper planning, you can avoid that. And then just I've seen people build basements and not design HVAC for basements, and then they had to install chases all over,
And
which
ruined the height of the basement.
ruined the height of the basement. I've seen people build modern homes and also not design HVAC. A lot of design has to happen up front to avoid mistakes. And to me, if you don't do that, there are too many mistakes. And then obviously you come over that, but then you don't get the product you wanted.
I remember back in our construction days, one mistake I saw, not us, somebody was pouring the slab for their house. They did not get enough help. It was just that one guy and a couple of workers. And I had to drive by just for a quick stop by for something, I forgot what, but I pull up, they're in the middle of pouring their slab. They're only halfway through the entire house. The first half of concrete's already drying up. It hasn't been like leveled out or anything. The other half, and you can see those guys, they've got like the 1,000-yard stare, like they've been through it, and they still got another day of that. Anyways, that's a very costly mistake, and the only way to fix that was we had to get a very, or they had to get a very expert tile layer that kind of, each tile was custom to straighten out that wobbly floor because they couldn't smooth it out. So you can definitely, mess up big time, potentially. So I guess going back to the build process itself, what would you say is the typical turnaround time from start to finish for your starter home, like your medium grade, and then your custom high end? Like, what should people expect? How long should they anticipate building for?
So builder grade, easy lot. If I pull the permits, and I'm not including the pre-construction planning. I want to say that's like six months.
From breaking ground.
To me, pre-construction planning is 6 months to a year.
Okay.
And then once I get the permit and break ground, let's just keep it at that.
Okay.
Breaking ground. To completion. Builder grade can be 3-4 months.
Okay, that's pretty quick.
Custom homes, and usually the case is that the customers have not made their selections. Maybe made 25%. Like, okay, we want brick, we want this and that, but they, once you get into bricks, there's so many different selections, so many colors. Usually people don't get that far. They know they want brick, but because of that, a custom home for a customer, 9 months, around 9 months to a year.
So about a year.
About a year.
Custom.
Okay. 6 months to a year depends on how complex the house is.
Okay.
And how easy you make your selections. If you're undecisive, you lose days. If you can go in and say, hey, I want that. You speed things up.
Yeah, because there's like a cascade of things where if you don't have a certain item, then there's 3 other contractors behind that that get held off, but then they're off to other projects and might only come back in 2 weeks. So.
Exactly. And a lot of things today are special order. So even when you pick it, it'll be here next week.
Yeah, I remember during COVID, some things were like 3-6 months out.
Yeah, that's not the case anymore, but there's still...
I was going to ask, have you seen things level out since COVID?
Yeah, I'm working on a project right now where we're installing beams in the ceiling. And these beams, they, just this morning, I was told they're 4 weeks out. So there are some special order items that are... it's better to pick them out and order them as soon as you break ground.
Yeah.
So let them sit in the warehouse. You know, if they can hold it without incurring storage fees, just get it ordered.
Yeah. Okay. What is? Let me see here. We're almost done here. I know you got to go pick up crew. What's the craziest thing that you've seen on a construction site?
Crazy as in?
Crazy.
Like mind blowing. Like
I mean,
scratching.
Yeah, you know, whether it be like, I don't know.
The craziest thing that comes to mind is this one guy, and I think you know what I'm talking about, possibly. This one guy bought a lot in a flood zone. I don't know how he got it permitted, but he got it permitted. And it looked like he was self-building because it took a while, a year, and it's still not done. Finished the basement, and then the flood came. And this happened a couple months ago. And I was driving by that lot, and there's a pile of everything that was in the basement outside.
Jeez.
To me, that was one of the craziest because I could tell the whoever was building it was for themselves.
Yeah.
They're trying to save as much money as they can. And I mean, to me, there's no way to salvage that. They've got a big house built in a flood zone, and it got flooded before it was even completed.
Jeez, that's tough.
That's one of the, besides all the other stuff, but this is the first one that came to mind.
Yeah. One thing that comes to my mind, and I think it speaks to making sure the people that you hire have integrity. There's this out-of-state lady that ended up being my client. She hired a guy that was not an honest character, and he built her a house. Probably twice as much as what it should have cost. But one of the things he did, and I still am like, wow, instead of hiring or renting a porta-john, because nature calls, contractors need a bathroom, he instead dug out a hole and built one on site. He brought some of the old country over. And I think it took him like a month to do that. Like, dude, what are you doing? But in this case,
porta-johns are not that expensive.
Yeah, I think he was just taking advantage of the client and milking her for her money because she's out of state. She can't be there on site. So I think that speaks to it's important to make sure you hire people that are honest and have integrity.
I'll add, there's a lot of shady characters taking advantage of the situation in our city.
Yeah, for sure. Between the flippers, just churning out complete garbage product, or
nightmare. Oh, another crazy story. One, like you said, I had to rescue. This gentleman calls me. Says, I need help. I'm like, what's going on? He said, I'm flipping a house, and the city came and put a red letter on my door, a stop work order.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's a misdemeanor if you keep working, and you can go to jail for some time. So he's like, help. So I show up, and these guys, they bought a very old house. I think it was 100 years old. Everything was rotten. Everything needed to be replaced, and they're just covering it up with fresh sheetrock.
Wow.
I was shocked.
Wow.
I gave them a lecture told like, and a lot of flippers are doing that, which is unfair
Yeah.
to some
future
people.
homeowners,
Like
yeah.
I told them, what if a young couple buys this market rate? You're gonna make a killing, and then the house falls over.
Yeah.
So we ended up working something out. I made them fix everything.
Yeah.
Do everything proper. We got
Yeah.
over that.
Yeah.
That was another like. To me, those are the crazy ones.
Yeah. Yeah. So
You know,
run into
minus
all-
the Porta John stories. I have a
Yeah.
few of those too.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you end up running into all sorts of shady
Yeah,
characters,
yeah,
and there's opportunity for that in the industry.
Yeah.
Speaking of, what would you say to somebody that's wanting to where was it? Oh, what advice would you give someone who wants to start a construction business today?
I just do it.
Nice.
Yeah, just
Heard it
do
straight
it,
from the
but
source.
I mean, do everything properly.
Yeah.
Like, don't do what some of these flippers and builders are doing.
Yeah.
Just have integrity
Yeah.
and be honest. Do your best. Obviously, everybody's gonna make mistakes along the way. But just go ahead and do it.
I heard a phrase recently.
Oh, hey, hang on. Oh, 1 second. Hello? Hey. He's ready? When? Okay, all right. I'll be there by 12. Okay. Okay, all right. No, it wasn't them. It was
Sheila,
yeah.
Ah.
I heard it.
Ah.
Hey, it's just build it, Max. Remember your motto.
Oh yeah.
Build it. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good
Yeah,
motto.
just build it.
Are we still rolling, Dre?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
wrap it up.
Yeah. I know you gotta get going
Yeah.
soon, so just a few more questions. And one thing I heard, speaking to the people that try to take shortcuts, I heard a phrase recently that I like, that a shortcut is the longest way to get there.
Exactly.
And in some instances, that definitely holds
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Okay, just a couple quick
That's
questions.
why I'm not against entry-level builders. Like I said, there's a big benefit to them. They get experience. They can charge a little bit less. But then, experienced builders like me also add value.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we'll charge a little more
Yeah.
for the experience, but a lot of savings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's,
you know,
and if you want
you're-
to start a construction company, just build it.
Yeah. Okay. And then last couple questions, and we'll let you go. What are you seeing cost to build, price per square foot, like just ballpark range? I know it could go from 150, 200 up to like 500, 600 per square foot. What's your average that you see these days?
I don't know. These are trade secrets.
Proprietary numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so some entry-level homes, and this is just the house itself, spec home, where I control everything, not the customer. I've done around $100
Okay.
a square foot.
Okay.
And again, like
But that's when everything lines up
would-
perfect.
yeah,
You control everything,
yeah,
and that's
and
only
experience, and experience.
the build. Yeah.
And I guess I'm not factoring in the time it took me pre-construction planning.
Yeah.
But the cost of the house.
Okay.
Obviously, when you put my time into it, it costs more. And then
bare-
it just only goes up from there.
So bare bones minimum for a contractor, I would say, minus the exceptional, what you can do because of your
Yeah.
experience, but like the basic most starter homes, you're looking at maybe like, from what I hear, 120 to 130 per square foot, but that's just like the cheapest, most basic. If you're going up anything just above that slightly, you should expect anywhere from like 150 to 175.
Yeah, yeah.
But more realistically, probably $200 per square foot these days.
Yeah. 100 is like the best I've done
Yeah,
lately,
yeah.
recently, and I'm surprised.
That's good.
I'm
That's unheard
surprised
of.
myself.
Yeah, that's unheard of. Most contractors I talk to, they're at 120,
Yeah,
130
yeah,
for the
that's-
base price.
Exactly,
Per square
and
foot.
to me, that's for the house only.
Well,
like
I think that
factor
speaks
in
to
the
your
house.
experience as
Yeah,
well. You
yeah.
know what you're doing. You've got it buttoned up pretty good.
Yeah. But
last-
yeah, custom homes they can unlimited.
Yeah. Yeah. Last couple questions. I guess I'll just ask them both at the same time. Where is it? Oh, what is a material or a trend that you are excited about, and what's a trend that you think is overblown in the construction industry?
I'm honestly, me personally, I'm excited about technology. I'm excited about home
talking about
automation.
home automation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where you walk in and the lights turn on. I like smart homes. I really like that, and I like a well-designed home where the house works for you. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like especially if you can build it, you build it to work for you. A trend that's what was the second question?
What's a trend that you think?
Or
is-
did that
oh,
make sense? Did that
yeah.
answer the question?
No, that does. Technology, automation,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then just customizing it
Yeah,
to your
yeah,
lifestyle.
yeah.
Your house too.
Yeah.
I'm really.
I was thinking of your house when you said that.
Yeah,
like, yours is pretty decked out.
I decked my house out and I love it. Yes, there's a learning curve, but I love it.
I still have to try your steam room. And what's a final question? What's a trend that you see that you're just like, ugh, or overblown? Or,
I'm getting tired of the white shaker kitchens.
That's funny.
Really
Yeah.
tired of it. I think everybody's tired of that.
that and the modern farmhouse style.
Yeah,
homes.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing that this is maybe applies to Charlotte only. I'm tired of seeing because of the boom, a lot of cheap homes getting built.
Yeah.
I feel like when we just moved here in 2004, everybody was trying to one up each other, build beautiful homes, curves, arches. Maybe that's not the trend right now, but
Yeah.
they're beautiful homes.
Yeah.
Right now, I feel like everybody's just building like cheap, boxy homes and
Yeah.
trying to squeeze out as much profit as possible.
Yeah.
Which to me, it ruins the look of the city.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm not a fan of those vinyl farms, those cookie cutter, basic and box.
Yeah. I wish builders built better homes, better
Yeah.
looking homes.
Yeah. Well, hey, you're doing your part.
Yeah.
And, the homes that you have, for anybody that's looking, we'll try to link up Max's portfolio. He's built some amazing, beautiful homes. So, you're definitely speaking to it from a place of experience. And thanks for taking the time out of your busy day to sit here and chat. And hopefully, there'll be some useful and helpful stuff for the people watching.
All right, it was a
All right,
pleasure.
man. Yeah, nice seeing you, bro.